I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
This guy's either gonna think here's another kid with a fake ID, or here's McLovin, the 25-year-old Hawaiian organ donor. Okay, so what's it gonna be?
I am McLovin.
Hello?
Why don't you want to talk to me?
Who is this?
You tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
Hey, welcome back to the J&Z podcast. This is episode 15.
15.
We have done this 15 times.
That is still wild to me. I started to forget. I was like, what number are we at?
I feel like we say that every single week. We go, wow, today we've done this 9 times.
9 times.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off quote.
Yeah,
All
talk
right,
about
this
a movie we need
week
to do soon.
is very special. We have another guest on this week. And as I normally do, I like to share a story before we introduce the guest. And this one's a little bit difficult to come up with one because we do, in fact, have my girlfriend on the podcast. No, not Czar.
No. we sometimes people get that confused, though.
All the time.
All the time.
People get confused all the time. But I, in particular, love the night that we met, specifically when I saw my girlfriend for the very first time. And I know I sound like I'm being really sappy right now, but it is, but my brain comprehended it a little bit different. So I was day drinking the entire day.
As you do.
So his perception was a little warped.
Yeah. I was like, who just walked in the door?
I mean, we run
Anyone
a podcast.
could have walked.
Yeah. So I was day drinking with my buddy, Quinn.
Wait, you have other friends?
So I was day drinking with my buddy Quinn, my imaginary friend, and his girlfriend is my girlfriend's sister. I promise there's no overlap in that family tree. But so
Previously on Game of Thrones.
she was like, oh, I'm going to leave. It's my sister's birthday. I'm going to go wish her happy birthday and come back. And so she left, but actually came back with her sister, my girlfriend. And I remember vividly her walking in the door because it was like a cold breeze hit me, or it was like a slap across the face. It was like, whoa. Like it was like the scene in How I Met Your Mother when Ted sees Robin for the first time.
Yeah.
But if Ted had been degenerately drinking for like 6 hours up until that point.
Or like the scene in Risky Business when the doors fly open and all the wind just goes.
Right, exactly. So I awkwardly walked past her, hey, like that, and then went to the bathroom, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I went, don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. And I just like stare. You know when you're drunk and you just like look at yourself in the mirror, and then you realize at that point how much you've actually drinking.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had a great night that night.
It
So
was-
my girlfriend, Lila, welcome to the podcast.
La la.
Was one of the best nights of my life.
Aw.
For sure. We had a
Aw.
great night.
That's good.
It's awesome.
Imagine if you were like, it was a terrible night. I hated it.
We wouldn't have dated.
Imagine if she was like, that wasn't me.
we were
Oh, my God.
we were up on it was just a crazy.
I think the funniest thing is we knocked over one of their TVs upstairs, and then we hung out the next weekend at their house, and Quinn was like, "You knocked over the TV," and I was like, "No, we did not."
We both we didn't talk until the next weekend.
Yeah.
At all. Actually, well, maybe we messaged like a couple times, like we'll see you like this weekend.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
'Cause we wanted to hang
I'm
out
not a big.
again.
I'm not a big like texter. Like that's
He's not.
that's my biggest lack of game. Is
Which
I
is-
yeah like
If we
someone
had
will.
met over social media, it would not work.
No,
out.
that's not my thing. Because she was like, "Oh, what are you doing today?" And I was like, "Oh, working." She's like, "Oh, how's your day going?" I'm like, "Good."
Good. Fine.
Awful. So dry.
Okay.
Yeah. But to me, I'm so happy she's messaging me, and I'm like, good.
Yeah.
And like, oh,
The entire time you're like, don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up.
as I'm fucking it up.
As he's
Yeah,
fucking it
right.
Yeah. But so we, the next weekend, Quinn's like, you guys definitely knocked this TV over. And in unison, we were like, no,
We just
definitely no.
like right when we walked in the door, and we hadn't really talked yet, and
No.
it was kind of awkward because we weren't drunk this time.
You're like,
Sounds
who are
terrible.
you?
Yeah. She's like, oh,
Like
oh, fuck, it's you.
I was really nervous that second weekend because the first weekend, obviously, he was drunk, and then I'm a little drunk, and So I was like, I don't know how it's gonna be when we're sober.
Right.
Hopefully this is okay. And it was, obviously. We've been together for a year and a half.
You're like
3
Now?
weeks.
You're like, we've been drunk.
God.
I've been drunk this entire time. We've both been drunk this
We
entire time.
can't not drink around each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was definitely my tiny handprint on the TV.
Well, so we said that we at the same time we were like we didn't knock it over, but then
We
in
denied.
unison they
Denied,
walked
denied.
down the stairs first, and we looked at each other and we went, we totally fucking knocked that TV
We're getting
over.
away with this.
I literally looked at it and I just went and knocked it
Did
over.
it
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
So-
robbing a bank.
This week
It was an accident.
we still reviewed a movie,
did.
which is an older movie, kind of, I
Oh
guess.
God, please don't say it's
Getting
an older
I
movie.
know,
older?
it is, yeah, just like Czar. What movie did you pick for us to review, Lila?
I picked Avatar.
Oh, The Last
Not-
Airbender.
Not Avatar The Last Airbender, which I do love. And we named our cat one of the characters, Toph.
And we're
from-
talking about the TV show, not the movie.
We're talking about the TV show. The
Not the
movie
M. Night.
fucking
Yes.
sucked.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll never review that.
Awful.
Never.
I
review
watched
that.
it because I was like, oh, people say it's so bad, but it can't be that bad. It was awful.
Yeah, I
Awful.
feel like the guy that wrote it was like, or whoever wrote it, guy, girl, looked at it and was like, okay, so here's the major concepts. Here's all of the resources and stuff I can draw to. Fuck all of that.
I just had an
This is what I think we should do.
I just had an idea. What if they got like a sleepy kid as they were writing it out, and they were like, "Okay, tell us everything about Avatar." Well, they and then they. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So
I think it's
there's
the
obvious-
reverse. There's probably a nerd that was like telling them everything, and the director kept falling asleep.
Yeah, probably.
Is my guess.
Write it down. Write it
It
down.
was awful.
But yeah, so we reviewed the Avatar, the Blue People movie.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Which it's really interesting. I have a lot of questions I want to get into about this movie because I have seen it a billion times.
Me too.
And
I love it. It's a good rainy day movie, or
It
you're at
is.
home when
Mhm.
you're sick.
yeah,
It's good.
there is a question I have before we get into anything, before we do our game or any of that stuff. Have you guys seen a movie called John Carter?
No, but there's a book about it.
You read the book?
There's. Well, I mean, it is.
I feel
there's-
like you didn't.
Okay. There's an interesting
Got
book.
him.
It's about
Got him.
it's about the movie John Carter and how it was like one of Disney's biggest box office bombs because they didn't know how to market it.
Oh.
Well, it's not.
So
They didn't know how to market it. It's a literal copy and paste of Avatar.
okay.
Oh, is it?
So this guy crash
no,
lands.
I have not seen it.
This
I've
guy
never
crash
heard of it.
lands on Mars.
Exactly like Avatar.
Well, and then realizes that there's life there, and they want to try and destroy them. But then he's like, "No, I'll be friends with them."
Oh.
But hang on, they speak a different language. But just give me time to get to know them. And then there's like a weird time loophole plot thing at the end that is different, but it's
Yeah.
like a diet Avatar.
Yeah,
Diet Avatar. I can see
It did
that.
bomb though. I do remember hearing
yeah.
about that.
I saw it in the
I-
theaters.
I
and was
feel like we
this
should
is worth
watch it.
$8.
That'd be a good check out.
It's a good like smack talk movie.
Oh yeah.
Just drink.
Macy and I, my sister, we
Hi,
like to
Macy.
smack. Hi Macy, love you. We like to smack talk Barbie movies, like the old ones we used to watch as kids. So funny. I don't know why. We just, as like a fun time activity, we watch Barbie movies
What
from
do you-
the early 2000s.
What do you mean by
Fuck you, kid!
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, wow, kid's such a bitch in this movie.
God, he can't even
No,
help
it's
her.
just like it's so awkward. Like if you can relate to me, leave a comment because I know I'm not the only one. We're not the only ones.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
no.
there's it's like because I feel like that was the thing that you did when you and Macy were younger, is you watched those movies.
We
so
did, and we loved
rewatching
them.
yeah.
Rewatching them, seeing how awful they were, but how
Yeah.
much we still love them it's quality time
Yeah,
we
wh-
spend together.
There's a couple movies my dad had me watch when I was younger that had Steven Seagal in it.
Oh yeah.
Huge Steven Seagal fan.
I feel like that would be I feel like that would be me with like a lot of the movies my sister would watch, like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my God, to
Yeah.
grandmother's house we go.
Yes, that was legit like every
The-
December.
The best movie.
Yeah,
We should have done that movie.
Instead of Avatar,
sorry. Jared, have you seen that movie?
I've not. No.
just do a Christmas movie in fucking June.
Let's go watch
It's
it
like
right now.
60
Cut.
minutes.
It is almost
Cut.
half Christmas. We could do like a half Christmas thing.
Christmas in
I got
July.
really excited about Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Well, before we get too far ahead, let's go ahead and do our box office
good.
Box office good.
Take it away, Czar.
All right. So 2009, it was a pretty big year for box office movies. Like, we still had original ideas. We weren't rehashing everything that we do now.
Oh, wait. Okay. What did The Hangover come out yet?
I don't think it had yet.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask, what Hangover part are we in? Is this part 2, part 3?
This would be part 1. It would not be part 3, but it's not.
But Step Brothers just happened last year.
Yes, it did. I
Okay.
feel so fucking old. Please put me out in the back and kill me. All right. So, in no specific order, Avatar, the movie that we're watching today. Twilight Saga, New Moon. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. That was a
Team
big one.
Jacob.
Yeah, that was the introduction of Jacob. I know because I've seen all of them and I've read the books.
They're so bad that they're good. I don't know.
I would take my sister to them, and I really liked them. I was like, girls like this, so I'm going to read it.
He's not lying. That's exactly what happened in
Sure.
high school.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You and,
You gotta impress them somehow.
yeah, my,
But Zara would hit him with like the
Are you a Team Edward or Team Jacob fan?
So no, that would make sense. That would make sense for somebody to do. But Zara would be like, so okay, like what is your like perspective as to, like the director's like creative choice? And they're like,
what the fuck
I
are you
don't
saying?
what are you saying right now?
Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. It's pretty good. Pretty good book. Pretty good movie.
I haven't seen that one.
It's pretty good.
Sorry.
No, you're good. This one's really sad. Up.
Oh,
okay.
I love that movie.
It's a really good movie.
If you haven't seen the YouTube video, I might link it in the comments. I probably will end up doing it because I love it so much. It is if Michael Bay directed Up. It's one of
I love that.
It's one of
so
the
good.
best. The best scene is where he goes, Kevin, and then he shoots a fireball.
You can have my house.
When I'm dead, and then Linkin Park. Yeah.
Everything
I'm
blows
gonna
up.
link it in the description. Pause the video right now. Go watch that video because it is so worth your time.
It is.
All right. I already mentioned Avatar, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
What movie is that?
The one with Aang and Sokka. And
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
The really shitty one.
Yeah.
The last one is Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Was that the second one?
That was the
Oh,
second
that's the one with Ironside.
That's the second one.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was.
Oh, because they lost
Avatar,
Megan Fox to that one, right?
Transformers, Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't watch it.
Yep. So again, no particular order. Twilight Saga, New Moon,
Okay, everyone, take your time writing everything down.
Avatar, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
I think I've got a pretty solid list. I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling confident that I will get one.
Okay. I think you and
Which
Timber
wait?
got
Which Twilight was it?
one. New Moon.
So yeah.
So that's the second one.
So
Introduction of Jacob. When I went and saw it in theaters, I swear to God, all these 40-year-old moms drooled when he took his shirt off.
Duh.
It was so it was so uncomfortable because I was just like, oh, this movie's not bad. And then he takes off his shirt, and I just heard everybody. It was like,
Yeah, when he cuts his hair, and you're like, oh,
yeah, all these.
okay, I'm
the-
a little.
You're like,
hang on.
I gotta-
All right,
I-
here we go. New Moon was 5.
go back in time. Don't take your shirt off during this scene, okay?
No, go back in time. Like I know you are supposed to be really fit for this movie, but here's a $1,000 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts.
Have you ever had Cold Stone? All right. So
I think I'm ready.
Okay, I'll go first, and then I'll pass it over to you. Okay, going in order from worst to best.
gotcha.
Number 5 is Transformers.
Keep going.
I'm sorry, it's looked at you to see if you give something
So I
away.
was going, okay, and
Zara puts on his serious face for this.
Okay.
All right, number 4
Poker face.
is Up. Number 3 is the Half-Blood Prince, otherwise known as Not As Good as the Prisoner of Azkaban. Number 2 is New Moon. And number 1 is James Cameron's Avatar.
Interesting.
I'm just going to count that as correct because it sounds really good.
Lila?
okay. I don't know. Okay, so 5 Transformers as well, starting from. You literally put that one.
I'm sorry. You're right.
How dare you?
And then for number 4, I'm putting Twilight.
See, this is what tripped me up. I think it's going to be higher on the list because it's a sequel. And some of the best ones we've done with this game have been sequels. Even though, like, if the sequel is crappier than the original, people are just so jacked for it.
Yeah.
It just inevitably ends up making more money.
Yeah.
So should I switch it
No,
up?
nope, no switching.
Keep going.
Okay. Okay. Damn. So that one is Twilight, and then I put Harry Potter
Harry Potter at 1?
for 3.
Oh, 3,
Three.
okay.
And then I put Avatar at 2,
Okay.
and then I put Up at 1.
Up at
Wow.
1. Wow.
Up at
Up
A
at
lot of
1.
traumatized kids.
Russell?
Russell.
All right.
Russell?
So this was actually
You
a shock.
can have my house.
This was actually a shock to me.
Okay, run it. Go
Number-
from 5 to 1.
Number 5 was Avatar. That was a fucking shock.
I suck at this game, dude.
It's a hard one, man.
No, I'm like, okay, what did I write down? Okay, keep going.
Do you
I'm
want
gonna
to
go-
go pick that?
Can't change.
Keep going. My bad.
Play it again.
Um,
Okay, I'm gonna wait for you
I already
because I'm keeping this in the
lose.
fucking podcast.
You don't
I'm
remember
keeping
reading.
it audio.
Okay,
so
all
that
right. Okay,
no one
it was worth it for
knows.
the bit. It was worth it for the bit. All
It
right.
was pretty good.
For your audio listeners out there, I just rage ripped my paper.
You did that?
Okay.
Not rage ripped, but someone wanted a transfer the other day,
Yeah.
and then they were like, actually, never mind. And I go, you don't want this? I
Nice.
ripped it.
Dang.
And I was like, fuck you. Leave. You wasted my time.
Thanks for wasting my time.
Anyways.
Number 4, Twilight.
Okay.
Ugh.
Shoot. Wait, no. I put that. I
Yeah.
put that as number 4.
You did
I
get that-
switched it at the
you got
last
that
second
right. You got that
before
right.
the game.
Mm,
You did.
Proof.
good job.
You got that right. Number 3 was Up.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it.
Number 2 was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
I literally did.
And then
not even one.
Transformers at 1?
Transformers was number
The
1.
But Megan
fuck?
Fox didn't come back.
She was in the second one.
Oh, I asked you
Yeah.
that. I was like, is she in the second one? You went, oh no. Right. No. Okay,
I'm a little upset.
it's so funny
Yeah.
though because I told you I was like a sequel will always do better. That Transformers is a literal. I didn't take my own advice.
it's a literal
I
sequel.
Didn't take my own advice.
Yeah.
Literal fucking sequel.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into
Who won? Who
the
won?
movie. I got 0.
You won.
Yeah, I didn't get a
I
single
won.
one.
Yeah, you won.
I got 1.
You won.
Good job.
Yay.
So Avatar. I think where I want to start with this movie in particular is I think our
Ningin. Have you seen that video? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What? Can you describe it? You're on the podcast.
Yeah.
so-
It's this
Start from the
I
beginning.
don't know
Tell
what
us everything.
ethnicity he is, but he's
That's
not.
an interesting place to start.
No, I don't know where
okay.
where he's from, but he's not like he doesn't. I don't think English was his first language.
Oh, okay.
So he's trying to read the literal first line of the Bible,
Oh no.
and like he's a sermon, like he's a priest or something,
Like a pastor.
pastor, priest, whatever. And he's trying to read the first line of the book, and he goes in the beginning, and he can't read it, and he keeps going
He's like
in
Floyd
the
Mayweather.
beginning, in the beginning.
In the beginning,
Sweating.
the game.
In the beginning, if you know what I'm talking about.
One of my favorite videos that reminded me of is when remember the ALS ice bucket challenge?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys remember that? So I was gonna say Ice Cube.
Ice Cube?
Not Ice
Well,
Cube. 50 Cent called out Floyd Mayweather, and he starts the video off by going, "Fuck this bucket of ice," and he throws it, and he goes, "Floyd, if you can read one page from any Harry Potter book, I will donate $700,000." Then what ended up happening is he didn't respond to it. Jimmy Kimmel said that if they read it on the show, he would match that. And all he had to read was one page from Cat in the Hat. And
Couldn't do it.
Well, he didn't take them on their offer.
What a dick.
So it's one of those things where it's like when you ask someone a question and they say no, like no comment, it kind of is an answer to the question in a way. So that's how I took it. It's like, well, I picture Floyd Mayweather like opening Cat in the Hat, and he's like, "There's no way."
Well, I mean, 50 Cent's the same guy that Ja Rule had tickets, and 50
Oh, I
Cent
remember this. Yeah.
bought like almost all of the tickets just for himself so that no one would show up.
He bought the VIP 2 first front rows to his concert just so they were empty. It's okay. Ja Rule's not a great person, so
Yeah, no,
it's
he's if you've ever
That
seen
sounds awful.
if you've ever seen Fire Festival, it's a really good
Yeah,
documentary.
I did. We
Oh,
watched
yeah,
that.
with Ja Rule.
okay. Was that Ja Rule?
Yeah.
Yes, I was Ja Rule.
Oh, that was a really good documentary.
Really good.
It was a
on
good
Netflix.
documentary.
Yeah.
Really shitty people.
Yeah.
I was on Tumblr at the time, and I remember
Of
seeing.
course.
Okay. I remember seeing like everybody was posting about fire being there.
Okay.
I was like, that sounds fucking awful.
Sounds fire.
Sounds like you're in a pit of fire.
Well, the interesting quote from the whole documentary, again, you should go watch it because it's really good, is they were talking about, they were like interviewing the people that kind of helped, but weren't like the main.
They were being paid to do it, and they
Yeah.
were like really stressed.
The guy at the very end said that the fire festival did happen, but it was the weekend where all of the Instagram models came out and they all
Yeah.
drank and partied. He's like, that was the fire festival.
Because it was also at Pablo Escobar's cousin's
Didn't they-
Island, yeah.
Yeah, didn't they get like their own like huts or house, like actual houses?
Yeah, exactly.
So those
yeah.
people probably had an okay time.
Well, that's what that was his point. He was like, that was the fire festival. Whatever happened after that was just
was not
chaos.
pure chaos, especially with
Like the beginning when they had the people before for like
Yeah,
the
but they're
shoot
like scouting and they're doing the
Yeah.
shoot and the promotion. He's like, that promotional period
was the festival.
was basically the festival.
and even that
yeah.
was
It wa-
stressful.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, kind of,
The-
because
the
there's a
models
scene of
were
him just
really-
laying on a beach drunk.
Well,
asleep.
the models were really weirded out because they were literally just drinking and partying with the
Mhm.
camera crew, and they felt really uncomfortable to, like on this island alone with people
Well,
they
yeah.
did not know.
Well, yeah, there's one scene in
It's
particular where
weird.
this guy like starts cursing because he's like, they need to be tagging fire festival.
They need
Oh,
they
God.
need
And
to
you
go
see, like-
jump in the water.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you guys need to
Take off your clothes.
just get
Oh, God.
too much clothes. Get in the water. Like,
yeah, he was like.
he's
bossing
basically
them
just like
around.
creepy.
That's so uncomfortable.
Like,
Bitch.
why didn't this work?
Yeah, why didn't we? I mean, we've never put on a concert, but it has to work.
Can't be that hard.
It's fucking insane. It's a great documentary though.
It was great.
It is, yeah. Whoever put on that documentary.
Great
Yes.
job, 10 out of 10. So
10 out of 10.
Avatar.
Oh.
I
Yes.
think one of the best places to start is your favorite scene. So I'll give you both a second to think about it because I've got mine dialed in. I think the best thing that people really like about it is if you saw it in theaters when it came out, it obviously was made to be seen in 3D. And so I loved this, and it's a longer series of scenes, I guess, but it's where he gets into his avatar, that whole thing happens, but he goes on in his first like quote unquote mission and he gets separated from his like the group he was with and he falls down and it's nighttime and it's kind of a freaky scene, but I just love the entrance of the girl he's with for majority of the movie. I can't remember her name, but
Actress Zoe Saldana.
yeah, it's like
I should know her name.
yeah.
It's keep going, I'll
Yeah.
think about it.
So they it's like getting dark out and he like makes this like torch and there's like these creepy like dog like creatures that are just like surrounding him. And
She's
then
like, better if they ate you.
well yeah, she comes in like a total badass, like stabs him, shoots him with an arrow. And then he's like, "Oh, that was badass," and she's like pissed because
Yeah.
she's like, "I didn't have to do this because you're a baby,
Yeah, she's trying
baby,
to save you,
baby
baby.
boy had to be saved."
Everybody point at the baby boy.
point and laugh, can't
Stupid
protect himself.
baby.
Point and laugh, yeah,
I was just thinking about that scene. It's my favorite scene too.
really,
I like that part when she goes, "You're like a baby,"
yeah.
kind of like
She looks at him like
being
you were
really
a pussy.
sassy. And then they take him back, and like they capture him and they take him back, and then he's being like assessed by like the leaders of the clan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the woman later, she's like, "Okay, my daughter will do this," and she goes, and she's just
Yeah, she's like really
pissed.
upset. Yeah,
And I think that part's really funny.
that's that. The
I
following
liked it.
scene where they go to the home tree is really interesting because a lot of people draw comparisons to like Native American lifestyle to Avatar, which is
I
something
think that was the point.
yeah, I grew up a lot with, and my family is on my mom's side, they're all like very Native American. And it's just really interesting, like the aspect of like respect your elder is like also
big.
huge in that movie. And it's just like, what if the chief was like, "I'll just kill him."
End of the movie. Credits.
Got roll. Great job, James
Directed by
Cameron.
James Cameron.
Yeah, exactly. What about you? Favorite scene?
It's pretty dark, but I would say
Wait, you like a dark scene, really?
Ooh, would have known.
So it's like we reviewed Top Gun, and my favorite scene is where their aircraft was out of control, and then the capsule didn't go all the way back, and goo shot up, died. I loved that scene.
it was probably when the army sergeant and them were fighting. And
when home trees
Yeah,
being
and
burned up
Oh
and
yeah, when
destroyed.
he's like smashing the tank thing or
Mm.
whatever, and the guy's like, "No, my camera."
the sergeant has his cup of coffee, And
No.
he, like,
I think he's talking
I'm
about
thinking
Home
of something
Tree.
else.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
Home Tree's getting blown
yeah,
up.
and
Yeah.
he like
the
sips his coffee and he says fire it ready.
I wonder how that works. Like, so like we have rules on Earth now, right? Where like, so I forget the exact term, but it's basically like the code of combat or like war rules. Basically, like you can't use napalm anymore as an example. Like after
Yeah.
Vietnam, it's considered like a war crime.
Against the Geneva Conventions.
Maybe that's what it is.
Geneva Conventions.
Yeah. Is there like there's certain things that you like can't use? It's like you're technically considered like an enemy of the world if you use like napalm or certain stuff like that. Like how would that work if we like discovered life on another planet? Like would we just do the same?
Let's try it again.
Yeah, I think
round 2.
Yeah, I think the guy was just like, fuck it, we can we can do anything to these people.
I mean, yeah, they were out to get a specific thing. They had a goal.
Yeah.
Nothing was gonna stop these businessmen
Yeah.
from doing that. They are gonna do business and do
Yeah.
this with
Well, it's-
anyone they can to get the job done,
Yeah.
which is really awful.
It's sad. So I think something that's kind of similar to that is the Blackwater situation, which happened in like Iraq Desert Storm area, where basically America hired this like company to do certain stuff for us. But from outsider perspectives, it was like that company was a reflection of the United States, which is like wasn't really the case.
Right.
And they kind of just like took things into their own hands, and it was like they weren't following any of our rules, but they were a reflection of who we are. And so similar to like this movie where you're describing that it's a company that's like, we don't care because Home Tree is sitting on trillions and trillions of dollars. And they also
More
bring
important than these lives of
probably-
Yeah,
aliens
right.
we don't give a shit about.
well, the
They're
interesting
like,
thing.
there's oil in this land. We have to dig for the oil.
Yeah. Well, so there was a throwaway line that they had mentioned where he basically, from what it sounded like, the whole expedition was taken out in the form of like a loan.
Probably.
Yeah.
And so like,
But the thing about it is their planet is so huge. You couldn't have found it anywhere else.
True.
yeah.
True.
Come on.
Let me just defend genocide really quickly.
Oh my god.
Great
So-
idea,
so-
George Bush.
Like that's just my assumption. It's just like they take a loan out, right, for like a couple $1 billion probably to fund this thing, and then they're obviously on a time frame to like pay everyone back. But if you think about it, they have to gather the materials, right? And so for them, it makes the most sense that the largest deposit of whatever material it was that they were collecting was under that specific thing, and
Yeah.
so like you'd have to dig and spread, and so it's like, I mean, it just makes sense to just kill everybody.
It's so much easier. So much easier than just
Yeah.
digging a little bit more.
One of the biggest complaints I've heard about Avatar is that it feels like a copy and paste Pocahontas, kind of.
I don't feel that.
I don't feel that.
I can see that. But these are aliens.
No,
Well, I
Not
think-
real.
yeah.
Like it's like obviously it's a whole different storyline than
Yeah.
Pocahontas, because you can compare Pocahontas to probably dozens of other movies based on that fact.
And it's like what you said earlier, like it's 2009, so we still have original stories.
I mean,
It's like there's only like, I forget where I read it. It's like there's only 18 like stories that can actually like,
Yeah.
happen where it's like, oh, parents died, like, oh, childhood trauma, and then story.
I think it
arc.
was very unique that I think this movie was very unique in the sense that he was a twin, which you don't really see in movies very often.
unless it's a horror movie where one of the
Oh
twins
my
is
God.
evil. Well, it's true.
So I was like,
Stop talking about horror movies.
Actually, in
Let's see.
Halloween 19,
It's like Dead Ringers.
God.
Continue.
But like he's a twin and then he like takes over for his brother. I think it's very unique. I don't think it's the storyline, like the fact that they like come into someone else's homeland and try to
Yeah.
take over, that
Yeah.
I can see as Pocahontas and he like gets the girl, which makes sense. But that happens in a lot of other movies
it does.
too.
Right.
I
And
have, yeah. Continue.
and they
please.
were actually like in love. Like Pocahontas in real life, like that story,
yeah.
that was probably not consensual.
No, it's probably like rape and genocide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
not
that's
probably.
in that sense, I don't think it's comparable.
One thing about Avatar that I think is really interesting is that this movie really did back then kick off the 3D, like the 3D craze. It was like this
Did it?
movie, this movie made, like I mentioned, it made a ton, it made a lot of money,
a great movie.
It
Even
is,
when you
Yeah,
watch
it is a really good movie.
and all these people were going out for the IMAX 3D. And it's like after this, you had Clash of the Titans, which was 3D. You had,
Oh yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, you had like a movie called Priest that was the 3D. You had
I
Thor.
went to Disneyland when I was like 7, and there was like a 3D Muppets movie.
Yeah.
Really, really intense.
The only 3D movie that really stood out to me other than this one was Spy Kids.
Yeah.
We should have done Spy Kids. Next time.
So,
All right,
Next time.
I wanna-
Next week's episode is Spy Kids.
I want to pause for a second. Can you tell me about your Muppet experience with 3D? Because I gotta hear some of this.
It was really intense. Like,
what was intense?
it's not like a normal 3D movie where you're like, I can kind of see it being 3D and it gets better over time. You put on these glasses, it's a whole like dark, like Disneyland is on another level with 3D. It was really weird. Like,
You're like,
there
also,
was
I was
a
on
little.
LSD.
Someone spiked my drink.
If you didn't know what LSD felt like, which I don't, that's what I assume.
Allegedly.
Why are you pointing
That's
at
why.
me?
That's why I assume it's like being on LSD because it was intense. And there was like a little thing that like I can't remember what it was. I was like 5. That like came up to my face.
5?
Yeah, it was really intense. Maybe some Adderall. I'm just kidding. It was like right up by my face, and I legit was scared. I was a kid, and I thought it was like up
Aw.
in my face. Like it was that good of a 3D. Like it was right here.
So the same similar thing happened to me,
So
except for
scary.
I was
I
like
also don't like the Muppets.
13.
Oh, I love
And-
the Muppets.
They're okay. I like the one with Jason Segel, but I went and saw Spy Kids, and they're like this like floating like it was like a health thing pack that they had, and I like stood up and I was like trying to grab it, and I saw the movie with my cousin, and he grabs me and he goes, "Sit down, sit down."
I'm trying.
And then it's like, if you've seen the show Community, there's this scene that's like really funny, but and then it's also really sad immediately. Abed, one of the characters, draws a cartoon tunnel and a cartoon version of himself, and it's an end of episode like
Yeah,
credit scene.
It's so
And his friend Troy is walking past, and he goes, Troy, I made it to the other side of Imagination Land. You just have to run through the tunnel. He goes, Abed? He's like, yeah, just believe, Troy. And he's like, I believe. And he goes to run into this wall, and he goes, no,
Brick
no,
wall.
I was just kidding. And then Troy goes, oh, I knew that.
He looks so
Oh.
sad.
And walks away. It's like, oh, God. And
Those
then
are the two best characters.
and it goes back to me.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, I might have done some damage.
Yeah, that's great.
But
I
yeah,
love
around
that.
that time, 3D was after Avatar. It really just like every company was just like, go on the 3D craze.
There's some movies in particular that I saw in 3D, and it was like cool because the other thing I thought about in this movie was like the camera, like because so when we started our podcast, you obviously need to have cameras
Yep.
to film you, and I was like, I just out of curiosity, I wonder how much it would cost to get like an IMAX camera for the podcast.
Oh God, so
And you can't even-
$1,000?
Well, like
much.
from what I read, and I could be totally like incorrect.
Actually, probably like $10,000.
But you like it
More.
seemed like you
More.
can't even purchase an IMAX camera.
you can rent it.
Like you rent it from this company, and the company comes in and like basically puts it down and gets it ready and all that stuff. And it's like,
like they do the camera work.
they don't
like, you
necessarily do the
can't-
camera work, but it's like they bring it in and set everything up, and it's I think like hundreds of thousands of
It's
dollars
so much money
per hour. Like
Oh my
it's
God.
a lot of money.
That's why
it's-
there's not a lot of.
That's why in movies they have like IMAX shots or
Yeah.
scenes.
Mm.
But
makes sense.
It's
yeah,
kind of
it
like what
was
you talked about
mind-boggling.
during the Avengers podcast, where you were like, these companies, they make like Avengers movies or superhero movies because they know they're going to make their money back. So like a
Yeah,
bank taking
yeah.
out a loan, they're like, oh, we'll totally lend you this IMAX camera because you're going to make us a fuck ton of money.
True.
Right. Yeah.
Like $100,000 to them is just like they'd wipe their ass with 100,000.
Yeah. So one of the questions that we like to ask when it comes to movie reviews is if there was one scene in particular that you would remove from the movie. Didn't really hold any value. You snip it, cut it out, edit, gone, take it. What scene do you think you would take out? And I can go first and give you guys a chance to kind of think about it.
There's a reason why the movie's so long.
Yeah. For me, it's a very, very beginning of the movie where he's flying there and he's coming out of like cryo sleep or whatever.
Yeah,
That seemed,
Yeah.
it just was like,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like they could have just like showed up, but it's like they talked about like cryo sleep and waking up and a landing and all this stuff. But then also like the transition from like spaceship. A part of me was like, I want to see more of that spaceship
Mm-hmm.
because they obviously the ship that they landed on the planet with was not the same spaceship that they were on.
Right.
So it made me want more from that like spaceship. Like, oh God, what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
But then also the process, I had even more questions where it was like, okay, so they had to go to sleep for 7 years. So like, how fast were they actually traveling? Because it wasn't light speed, or like what? And then I just like,
speed.
huh?
They can't go light speed.
Well, like, also like in some movies, like you go through like a wormhole or
Oh.
like travel, like you go really
But
fast.
it's still like
Star Wars.
Never mind.
What I'm
Continue. I know what you're talking about.
what I'm saying, what I'm saying is like I just had a lot of questions from it. Is it was like if you can like go light speed, right? You could be at a planet in the blink of an eye. Like think about like Star
But-
Wars. It's like you travel, boom, there, and you're shot. So it's like were they traveling at light speed, and this planet was just like light years and light years and light years away, or
No.
were they not traveling at light speed,
feel
or
like-
like
It's like if it were to be like 2050 or something, or like even 3000, like 100 years into the future when we're still human, like we can't travel light speed. I think they tried to bring an aspect of like this is real, not like, you know, like you can kind of relate to it, like leaving your family and stuff like that. Like there's still Earth. I feel like in Star Wars, like they don't really go to Earth and they can travel light years, and there's like, I don't know. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
a little
Like,
bit? Yeah.
There's still an aspect of we're humans
Yeah.
on Earth and have this life, and it's the same as it is right now.
So still trying to have
But
like some form of
we
realism.
just yeah.
Like I said,
It
I just had a lot of questions out of it.
Yeah.
And hi, plot hole guy here.
Yep.
One of the things that's really interesting about space is there's a lot of
ton of plot
I hate,
holes.
I hate it.
well, no, but so like well, yes, but
Shoot me. No.
one of the things that they do for people who are like literally in space now is they have to exercise and move their body because
Yeah.
the amazing thing about the human body is it adapts to any environment that it's in. So when you're in space for an extended period of time, your bones in your body actually start to
Your heart shrinks.
yeah, like, but
Yeah.
your actual bone starts to like reduce to nothing. Obviously, if you're up there forever, and it's because your body realizes that you're not in gravity, so you don't need it. So there's like theories of people like if you spend enough time in space, you'll end up basically being like a fish because you don't need bones because there's no gravity.
We evolve.
Yeah, and so they call it space sickness, and it takes basically a year to because you're building back bone because your body's just not allocating nutrients to like build that part of your body because you don't need it because there's not gravity.
How did they eat?
So that's what I'm saying is
like
when if
tubes.
they're in cryo sleep, whatever that means, they should all come out like fish. It's what I'm. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
We all get behind that.
That is a terrifying notion, though. That does not make me want to go to space.
Imagine you go to sleep, you open your pod, you just go. Come out. Okay, all right. I'll get off my soapbox.
People like look at you and they like tap at the window. Wake up, fishy.
I feel like it's kind of cool though because he gets out and he doesn't need his legs
Yeah.
at first. You know.
He's like,
But how
fuck it,
did
I'll
they-
be a space
Yeah,
fish.
How did
throw
they-
my wheelchair into the fire.
But he also he also mentioned in the
forgot
movie
what I was gonna
back
say.
to the wheelchair thing. He also mentioned that he could get his like being paralyzed that could be fixed if he had the right amount of money. Like that was his like big incentive to go to
Mm.
the place.
Okay. Yeah. Duh. Why
Look,
wouldn't you
all
want
I'm
your
trying
legs
to do
back?
is defend genocide. I don't know why you guys can't.
I would say with this movie, I'm right around the same time with you in that movie because a lot of the movie I was just like, okay, where are the blue people? I paid a ticket to see blue people.
Yeah.
I
Where
like the
are
backstory
blue
too, though.
I totally get that. It's just I guess I was just impatient with this movie because the poster it's like blue person trailer, blue people, and so I was like, okay, I'm trying to stay invested in this, but I really want to see this world.
It's you and me. It's the same reaction I had when I see any Incredible Hulk movie, where it's like, okay,
Cool.
Hulk out.
Where's the Hulk?
Okay, go green.
Someone get mad at
But
him.
the premise of the movie is I don't want to do that.
It's like, no, you should
Yeah.
do that.
It's like,
We're like
do it.
peer pressuring him. We're
Yeah.
like,
It's
hey,
gonna
bro,
happen.
Hey, you know what makes you mad? Loud noises. And then we start like pressing air horns. Like, hey, hey.
yeah, it's a scene where Tony Stark like shocks him.
Yeah,
I
right.
know what would do it. Have a cat, and it'll scratch on the door early in the
He just
morning.
hulks out, attacks the cat.
He like
He would
hunts the cat.
if there was a cat and it was doing that.
Okay, so let me pass over to you
Probably.
guys. If there was a scene you were to remove from the
I
movie,
think-
I think I just answered that.
What scene?
It was the beginning scene, just like your scene.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry. I will
So you're
never
a
make the mistake
copycat?
again.
All right, hot potato.
I think the scene I would remove. Oh my god, they're all good, and they all I feel like need to be there for like backstory, and then it like keeps getting better and better. I was gonna say the scene, when he's like learning how to ride the big horse, the blue horse, and then he like
he's got to plug in like a USB and
basically. But the other guy that the main woman is supposed to like marry to be like the chief, like he's kind of a dick at first, and you don't really like him, but you kind of need that scene because he comes over and is like making fun of the American, like not actual.
What do they call
Avatar.
They call them sky people, but there's a word when people like use the avatars as a host. What is that called?
I've seen this movie so many times. I should know.
There's like a term for it.
I know what the name of the people are, but I don't know the like.
You know what I'm talking about? There's a term that they use for sky people.
I think it's sky people. I think it's just sky people.
Oh, I thought there was a term, but when a sky person like inhabited an avatar's body.
Because I know they're called
don't remember.
the Navi.
The Navi is the tribe.
Yeah.
I don't remember what like
the
Americans
terrifying.
were called.
Like think about that as a concept. Like if an alien comes down and becomes like a human, and then they're like, "But I'm just you. Just relax." No.
Wait, you're telling me that hasn't happened yet?
Anyways, I think that scene, where he like comes over and is like being kind of a dick.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would take that out, but that's like my next after the beginning scene, because I can see that that's the only scene I can see being okay to take out is the scene where they're like landing and he's like floating in zero gravity, like,
and he's not a
coming
fish.
Out of his
Doesn't
cell.
make sense, people. Doesn't make sense.
I don't know, because I like the beginning where his brother's being cremated, which is kind of terrifying to me as a kid. I was like, oh my god, there's a body.
I love the part where they burn the dead person.
But I feel like it kind of like it adds backstory and more about him, and it's not just this random guy.
You definitely start to build empathy for that character.
Absolutely, yeah. And you feel bad that not anyone wants to like hang out with him because he's not like he hasn't learned anything about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, but that scene, I think, definitely the beginning scene. But then my next thought was the scene where the other guy comes in and he's kind of like making fun of him, and then Neytiri, the main girl, is kind of like defending this human.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like they're just learning, blah blah blah, but still it's like, I don't know, that scene, it hits me. It doesn't feel good. I don't like that one.
Yeah,
that's probably my least favorite scene, but it's not one I would take out because you kind of need it there.
Well, so what would you take out?
The beginning scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the one scene I can actually see not being there. But there's a reason why this movie's so long. It's because they had to add this scene.
Yeah, that's the thing with James Cameron
not
is
have them.
a lot of his movies are really tight. So when people are like, well, what would you remove? It's like with T2, that was a really hard question because I was just like, this entire movie, you need every single scene. Or like Terminator, I'm just like, oh, you need every single scene. So,
yeah, I think from like a theatrical point, it makes a lot of sense because James Cameron, like, obviously is telling this insane story from beginning to end. But it's like, I feel like there's a couple scenes in Terminator that are like not super duper necessary.
We'll talk about that later.
There's too many scenes in Terminator that are not necessary.
Excuse me? What was your thought?
Excuse me? Talk?
First of all, don't touch
Okay,
me.
hang on. Go ahead.
Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
Do not touch me.
First of all, don't. Okay, please stop. Okay, go ahead.
One of my absolute favorite scenes other than that one scene in the beginning we talked about when he's meeting Neytiri, when he gets his like bird, like his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
No.
But he like
Blue
finds
Skyhawk.
They like
Yeah.
and they like go up and like they hike up and they do it and he like finds one. I think that scene is so cool.
It is
looks
cool.
That is
really
one
cool
of my
too.
favorite scenes.
There's a game for the Xbox 360, I believe, that was based off of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And most movie games like totally suck.
Yeah,
There's like a very few
Spider-Man.
exceptions. The new, I guess the old ones are okay.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings ones were good for the PlayStation 2, but other than that, like any attempt like was just garbage. But this one I feel like didn't get enough love and attention, and it was actually such a great game because one of the really cool aspects of it is at the very beginning of the game, your character makes a choice to kill the human and go become an avatar, and then you play through the avatar storyline, or you kill the avatar and stay a human and then go through the human.
Oh, that's actually really
storyline.
cool.
And it's like, it's a really awesome game. And the game progresses exactly like the movie. So as you get farther and farther in the game as an avatar, you get your horse first. And then you get your bird then like next. And then you can ride on the like tiger, like crazy looking thing.
Yeah.
And then for the
that thing
humans,
was cool.
you have like the bikes and stuff and like transportation. You get different guns that they use. And then by the end of the movie, you're in like the mech suits that they had. And so it's like, it tells the story really cool, but it's like one of my favorite things about it is it's not like you play as a main character. You just play as like you're also a part in this world.
That makes sense.
Because it's like the same thing with like the Star Wars games. The ones that did the best is where you could just be like your own person. It's not like you were playing as like
That makes
main
sense.
character.
So what you're saying is I need to buy a Xbox 360 and get that game.
I was trying to find it. Like I said, it wasn't a game that like did very good because people probably just chalked it up to like, oh, it's a movie game. Like that probably sucks. But like Hitman, I don't know if you saw reviews for that game. Like that game is phenomenal.
I really liked that scene though too, because especially that shot of, I think he goes over the mountain and it goes all the way down and you just see the camera dropping, and like the way that the water looks, it's all shimmery and really bright, and there's all the birds flying.
Good. Like
it just looks really good.
oh my god, everything is good in that movie, even to this day. Like it's not like Terminator where it aged poorly.
Wow.
Such a good movie.
Okay, well, sci-fi wise.
No. Sci-fi wise. Like it's an okay movie, the first one.
But okay, to be fair, Terminator did come out like 40 years ago.
Okay,
like
but
Avatar.
I don't think Avatar's ever gonna look bad ever. I think it looks like believable.
Joke's on you when we have augmented reality.
I'll say this.
We find a fifth dimension.
Metaverse. For me, the last question I think we'll end on is a scale of 1 to 10. And I know this is a hard question to answer, so I'll give you guys a chance to think, and I'll go first. For me, there's a couple different things I like to rate the movie on, and I've said this before, but the one big thing for me is that I ever check the time during the movie. Is I'm like, what is this? Like, one of the examples I use is the new Batman movie was phenomenal, really long.
Please listen to our podcast episode. We also have video footage of us doing it too at jnzpodcast.com.
It was long. It was really long.
Yeah.
It was long.
That being said, Avatar is also a really long movie.
It is long.
But never really looked at the time. It kept me like it's a fast moving movie for how long it is. And it's what you said earlier. All of the scenes really do play an important piece. And as the movie progresses, and this is something I really appreciate, is it's not like immediately the stakes are high. Like it does the job of telling the story. Like in the scene where he's in the command center and he's like, okay, you have 3 months to like, and then the bulldozers show up. It's like, I think the line, but it's like, it's not like the stakes are immediately high. Where like with Terminator as an example, it's like, where is Sarah Connor? And he's just going through the phone, but dead. Like the stakes are high immediately, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's just a different kind of feel. Like it's telling a really cool story and taking its time, but there is that like rising action piece.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too for me is like, because every movie has an ultimate climactic point, right? Where like something absolutely catastrophic happens. And for me, it's like, I don't know when that was, is another thing that
movie?
No. What I'm saying is if I don't know when I think I thought it happened, but it didn't, that's what I attribute to being a really good movie.
Yeah.
Oh, like catches you off guard a little bit.
So like as an example, if I'm like watching Back to the Future, let's say like part 2, right? And I'm like, oh, he almost like got killed by Biff. That was the big climactic piece. I was like, oh, it's so good. And then the lightning bolt hits the DeLorean and Doc goes back to Old West. Like I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah.
When I watch it, that's what I
Shock
mean.
factor.
Yeah, exactly. Shot like I'm like, oh my gosh, like there was this. That was it. The movie's like, rising fall. Now we're gonna wrap up the story, credits, and we're done. But then something else crazy happens. Like, I guess I didn't really anticipate them going and literally destroying Home Tree and then him just solely becoming an avatar. Like at that point I was like a little kid at a dinner table going, more. Like I just didn't want the movie to end.
It's so good. And when Grace is like dying and they try to like save her, that part's so intense. But it's
especially the scene where he's like in, like you were talking about earlier, he's in that like pod and he's like dying in the pod.
He's dying. Like that's climactic. Like the literal war, like the entire thing, like when he gets tied up.
Great war
and
scene
they like
at the end.
they think he betrayed them, but he's actually on their side. Like that part super climactic. And then he gets the giant flying bird. Like there's so many parts and it keeps like getting good. And if you like gore, there's a lot of that too. Like, it's got a good balance of everything. I would rate this movie probably 10. Like, I like this movie a lot, and there's a reason why I watch it all the time.
Yeah.
And, like.
When
was the last time you watched it?
Well, for me, real quick, 8 out of 10 for me. I would say 8 out of 10.
I want to be like generous and give it a 10. I think I would give it actually a 9 because I can't watch it all the time.
Right.
I think if it's a 10 out of 10 movie, I would want to watch it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be in the mood for Avatar.
Well, so
I have
here's
to
the
be
thing,
in the
though.
mindset of to watch
It
Avatar.
could still be a 10 out of 10 for you because something that we talk about, and I don't know if this rings true to you, but watchability, I feel like, is another factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, as an example, one of my favorite movies of all time is Pulp Fiction and Wolf of Wall Street. I could probably watch Wolf of Wall Street more than Pulp Fiction just because, like, Pulp Fiction, it's pretty gruesome at times.
I've never seen it.
And so it's not...
that'd be a good one to watch together.
It is a great movie. But it's not something that I like. I wake up, have a cup of coffee. Oh, let's put on some Pulp Fiction. Like, it's just not... But for me,
That's true.
It's
That's
still
true.
an amazing movie. Where, like, okay, a movie that I could watch probably on repeat until the end of time is, like, The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Or
I thought you
Liar
were gonna say-
Liar. Or Ace Ventura. They're phenomenal movies, but there's, like, that watchability factor.
I
But
agree.
Avatar...
Yeah.
Again, isn't something like you said. I wouldn't put it on to just watch all of the time because you get like
It's intense.
it's one of those movies you put it on and you're doing something else and then you just slowly start watching the movie and then you're not doing the something else. Then you're just watching the movie.
It's a good also like if someone has cable and they have Avatar on and it includes commercials. That's like a 3-hour movie.
If somebody has cable TV,
go to sleep to it. I would say for me it's a 7. I thought it was pretty good, but
was the last time you watched it on cable?
Probably.
Is that why you're saying that? Because
yeah, I was on like TNT.
because that sounds awful.
it wasn't on FX.
Oh, it might have been.
Coming next, Avatar on FX.
I think it was FX.
It probably was.
It probably was.
So,
the
okay.
commercials in between ruins everything for any movie.
Oh yeah, it's a
But-
huge vibe killer.
Vibe killer.
When was the last time you saw it? Like for
I've
all
seen
of
it.
yeah.
We watched it the couple weeks ago.
We do,
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So the question I have for you, Zara, and then we'll kind of wrap things up.
Go for it.
What does a 10 look like for you? Because I feel like
horror movie.
exactly,
Blood.
yeah. Zara's like, there's not enough deceit and just heads being chopped off.
I would say a 10 for me is a story that really.
Because the closest, sorry to interrupt you, but the closest thing that you've given a 10 is I believe you gave Terminator an 8.5. I think
I think I gave
the first one.
Yeah, I think I gave it.
The third one.
I think it. I think I gave.
Zara loved the third
Oh,
one.
fuck that. I think I gave Terminator a 9.
Okay, yeah.
And I think.
Oh.
Most people describe it as a horror movie, by the way.
I
I was scared.
It's a scary fucking movie.
So I think for
It just
a 10 for me is something that catches me off guard, and I don't.
Shock factor.
I don't see it coming.
Something catches me off guard, like a knife comes through the wall, or there's a random gunshot.
random death.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
bodies
Random
dropping.
Bodies to the floor.
I immediately thought of like 10 movies as you just said that. It was just like, but for me, a 10 is something where something happens and I don't expect it.
Do you have
Like-
a 10
Like
in
Jurassic,
mind?
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park's a 10?
Jurassic Park's a 10 for me.
Oh, okay.
Because that movie,
The
it
new,
moves,
the-
the
old-
original one.
Original, okay.
Because it moves really quickly.
OG.
There's
I see that.
people. There
That's
were
a good
actually
movie.
people in the raptor costume. So they used CGI and then they used people in the raptor costume. The T-Rex for the
Wait,
most
hang
part
on.
was metal.
Why did they didn't have raptors?
Oh God, I'm sorry to tell you, but in Costa Rica right now, dinosaurs. I mean, yeah, the music's amazing.
Perfect.
Like it to me, that's
Jurassic
a 10.
Park.
And we actually have a poster of it.
Jurassic
so
Park.
that's a movie I would say is a 10 because there were a lot
Okay.
of stuff that happened that caught me off guard. The movie fucking moves. The
I guess- and
actors
it's-
are all good. I
yeah.
mean, you got
I feel like when it comes to like the 8.5 to 10, it's just really personal preference, but it's the same sort of thing. So like for me, we reviewed Back to the Future. The first one for me is a 10.
yeah.
And it's exactly what you're describing. It's like snaps. It's like back in time. And then it's like problem. The movie is moving, but it's just like, I think it from that like 1.5% to a 10 is just personal preference. I think.
Yeah. I mean, like Boys in the Hood, a movie that we recently watched, like that to me is also like close to a 10 because it moves.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of like what you said, something happens that's really big and you think, oh, well, that's the ending. And then immediately like more happens and you go,
Right.
oh shit, more's happening. So that's
Yeah.
what I would consider like close to a 10.
Well, and the thing too
That makes
about Boys in the Hood, going back to the watchability factor, that's not a movie I could watch.
no,
like,
no,
it's
no.
sad. It pulls on your heartstrings, and it's not like, again, you don't wake up, make a cup of coffee, and you're like, happy Monday, time to watch Ricky die. Like, that's
Spoiler
not.
alert.
Yeah. Ooh, sorry. Thank you if you've made it this far in the podcast, by the way. Yeah, definitely not a watchability factor. But I think it's a great time to kind of wrap things up. This was an amazing episode 15. Thank you, Lila. so
Thanks
much.
for having me.
All right.
Gonna have to have you back on sometime soon.
Yeah, it's 10 steps from my bedroom, so I think that works out really well.
That sounds like a movie. 10 Steps from My Bedroom.
That sounds like a Lifetime movie. 10 Steps from My Bedroom.
FX. Yeah. Thank you if you've made it this far in the video. Go ahead and scroll down for me. Stop right now. Scroll down. There's a little thumbs up button. Go ahead and click that. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. And then come back next Sunday.
And comment if you want me to come back on.
Yes.
Hey.
And comment if you want us to keep doing this, please.
And-
we need the positive encouragement.
And
Positive?
dislike if you want
Positive.
just to be the Jared podcast.
Oh.
Our Belgium listeners really love Zara, I can tell.
I really hope so.
Shout out to the Belgium listeners.
Shout out to
We're watching-
Belgium.
we see
Shout
you.
out Belgium.
not
Okay.
watching.
All right. This has been fantastic. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week. Adios.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.